Welcome, folks! We will be starting a new newspaper, the Oregon State Journal, from Eugene City, Oregon. This will be edition number 1. The date of this newspaper is November 19th, 1881. Amazingly, that means it was 142 years ago. Notice, George S. Kincaid has rented of H.R. Kincaid the printing presses and materials of the Oregon State Journal and will publish the paper from and after this date. He will collect all bills for subscription, advertising, and job work after September 29, 1877, and will pay all expenses and debts incurred after this date. The paper has been enlarged and improved and will contain the important news from all quarters and a large amount of general reading matter, besides the usual state and local news. The publisher hopes to merit and receive a liberal patronage. G. S. Kincaid, Eugene City, Oregon, November 9, 1878. Letter from Union County, Cove, Oregon, November 2, 1881. The 9th Annual Fair of the Union County Agricultural Society, which opened October 10th and continued for 6 days, was rendered less successful than at first promised by severe snow squalls, also severe winds. In the pavilion, we found the usual collection of big vegetables and orchard fruit. A young lady resident of the Cove, formerly a student of St. Paul's Girls' School, Walla Walla, took 6 premiums in fancy work and painting. For a general good and full showing, that of the ladies ought to have had the blue sash. It would make the heart of a confirmed old bachelor soften and his mouth water to see the good things prepared by the fair ones. We must move on to the races. The great 50-mile race was called at 1:20 p.m. Wilson of Umatilla County, seeing he had not the slightest chance to win, withdrew, so that the trial was between Clarence Steers and Henry Green, both of this county. Each was provided with 10 good horses of wind and speed, and having trained for several weeks, were determined and confident. The riders are required to dismount and mount at the end of each mile. Both rode superbly, and as they dashed up and without stopping leapt from the saddle to the ground and then to the next steed, the excitement was intense. At the end of 50 miles, Steers was the winner. Boss Coffee and Teapot secured by 3 patents. Edison may furnish light to the millions, but the Boss Coffee and Teapot will certainly furnish health to all who use them, as by this process purely philosophical coffee is made in 2 minutes, extracting only the strength and rich aroma, leaving the nicotine and insoluble portion of the berry in the filter. Sportsman's Emporium, C.M. Horn, practical gunsmith, dealer in guns, rifles, fishing tackle, and materials. Shop on Willamette Street, 1 door north of the IXL store. Did you ever know a teamster to stop in the streets in muddy weather without leaving his wagon or team across the only dry path on the walk? They generally stop and talk to somebody, and that somebody is usually just crossing the street. Of course, they never see you until you have waded through the mud halfway around them. They make no apologies, as the case admits of none. You may swear under your breath, but their size and muscular development protects them from bodily injury. If you were to put up a notice, "Keep off the crosswalks," they would stop in the wrong place to read it and then pay no attention to the request. Their calm indifference to your discomfort and disgust entitles them to a certain degree of respect, which, however, by no means soothes your feelings or cleans your boots. They are incorrigible. The following prescription for smallpox is published in a Washington Territory paper where the disease prevails at present. 1 grain of sulfite of zinc, 1 grain of foxglove digitalis, mix with a little water and sugar, and then add 3 ounces of water. Give the patient a tablespoon every hour. The moral vassal. If there is any one thing in the world which presents a pitiable sight, it is to see a young man devoid of principle, a mere moral dish-rag, capable of being turned and twisted this way and that by the opinion of others, possessing no stability of character, and consequently incapable of a worthy ambition. Such a one follows the general drift of his associates, unable to discriminate between honor and trickery, or, if capable, not man enough to exercise such gift. Men call themselves free men because they feel no fetters binding them in fealty or allegiance to a superior authority, while at the same time they are moral vassals, content to serve the highest bidder rather than build up in themselves a worthy principle. "So she refused you, did she?" asked Pingree. "Why didn't you press her, my boy?" "Press her?" exclaimed Brown. "She wouldn't let me get near enough to her for that." John A. Child, pharmacist, dealer in drugs, chemicals, and medicine. Come see me. Forest flower cologne. Madame Rachel's enamel bloom for the complexion. Shaw's pectoral syrup. Shaw's glycerin lotion for the face. The course of true love, etc. How smooth the course of true love may or may not run will long be a matter of opinion. Mr. Nye had a daughter who, being passing fair, was loved by one Walter Pendergrast. So far, however, from bidding the young people kneel at his feet while he clasped their hands and ejaculated a blessing, Mr. Nye warned the swain to keep away. What followed was a very natural in America. One afternoon, when Mr. Nye was taking his daily nap on the veranda of his house, Walter came craftily behind his chair and, pinioning his arms, called for Isabella, his love. The gentle creature, rightly comprehending the situation, appeared shortly on the scene with a rope in her hand, and with it tied her papa's wrists, ankles, and body, which feat being accomplished, she mounted a horse and, in company with her admirer, sped away. At first, Mr. Nye's impulse on getting free was to organize a party to go in search of the fugitives, but calmer consideration has apparently since induced him to forego the dispute. And this, in the opinion of the chronicler, is the safer course to take, seeing that Pendergrast is a noted moonshiner or highwayman who might be ridiculously ferocious were he followed by his newly made father-in-law.